pass.
Yeah.
Like the hardest pass I can ever ugh, like ugh God, I hate stretchers, bro. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. I'm sorry. If this messes up any future endorsement deals, I do not care. I do not like stretchers, bro.
Where's the clerk? I know. I'll use the may I help you riff. May I help you?
Thank you so much, everyone, tuning in. This is another episode of the Scoped Exposure podcast. I am beyond excited to be welcoming back the man, the myth, the legend, Braxton from Zulu, Shred Bundy, Wise, Madhouse, California riff legend in the house.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked to have you back on the show.
This is sick. Yeah, I was really looking forward to it. Like I was telling like the Zulu guys and everything. We were in the studio yesterday. So I was gonna legit break from the studio to go upstairs to like the room and just do it. Like I was super stoked. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And for those that missed out, like the last time that Braxton and I, did an interview for the podcast was like pretty much 2 years ago at this point.
yeah,
You had red hair, you were in an entirely different room. Shows weren't happening, and now it's like the total opposite side of the coin where Zulu is just hitting the ground running with a ton of things. Obviously, like you mentioned, recording a new record. And it was definitely like looking back at the roster from season one, you were definitely, a homie that I wanted to have on for a round two. So I'm stoked that we're
thank you.
finally sitting down and doing it again.
Yeah, this is sick. I'm really stoked. Thank you.
Of course. So, before we get into the music chat, we got to check some bevs for the show. So, showcase what you got as far as, what you're going to be sipping on for the episode.
I'm not sure the brand, but it's alkaline water, and it looks kind of gross to be honest. But it looks lukewarm, but it's pretty cold in a
Okay.
mason jar. I think it's actually like a sauce jar that my homies like because there's like stuff here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel
That
like
was
this is
the,
like a ragu, yeah, like a ragu jar, but I'm drinking water.
yeah. Yeah. It's always funny. Sometimes you can get really, you can get lucky with peeling off those things off those jars, and sometimes like I need that like goo gone kind of shit to like really get this
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
off. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that there's a pride in being able to be like, I don't have glassware, I just have mason jars, and that's what you drink your water out of. So I
Yeah,
feel like that's a flex move.
I feel that for sure.
Yeah. As far as beverages for me, I'm gonna be drinking. I'm kind of at that midday point where I need that like shot of caffeine just to like feel normal as a person, because if I don't, I'll just crash and burn. But probably I might crash and burn after this. So I'm drinking a Guru organic energy drink. For those not in the know, Guru is it's a Canadian energy drink company. So this is their tropical punch flavor. Got it at a oh, I gotta get it. There we go. I got this flavor at a gas station, and now it's just my go-to versus their like regular flavored ones or unflavored ones. So this is the move. Anything
That's
tropical, I
fine.
think, for energy drinks is the proper move.
Energy drinks, like they keep me up forever. Like I had like that much of a bang. I might have had that much of a bang like years ago. I was up for like a day and a half, 2 days.
Really? Damn.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
I
you're
already not.
you got a sensitivity level issue when it comes to. I feel okay. I think that bangs are the worst when it comes to like actual like fuck you up like energy drinks. I feel like a Red
It's
Bull is
crazy.
kind of like, um Endgame has a tradition now where before every set we like someone buys a 4 pack of Red Bull, and then we all give like a toast to one another.
That's
So
sick.
whoever buys it has to do like the show like toast or whatever. And I usually slam it, but I need to find the right time to down it. so I'm not like shaking before the band before us is playing. So I need to find it like right when we're starting to play to have that like really kick in, so I can just be off to the races.
I feel like a bang is like an edge break. Like
Yeah.
I was not feeling right, bro. My eyes were just like my eyes are huge. I was like, yo, this is not it. Like I'm not rocking with energy drinks and like even I haven't had soda. Like, I don't really rock with soda like that. Like, but yeah, the bang was definitely really overwhelming to say the least. Yeah, I'm not an energy drink guy like that.
Yeah, that's not my speed. But this is, and really excited to have you back on, Braxton. Cheers to you, my friend.
Let's go. Cheers.
Let's clink through the Zoom call here. As I spill some on my shirt. That's great. Well, Braxton, since this is round 2, as far as things go, like we've already kind of covered your origin story when it comes to, getting into hardcore and punk music. So a lot of this is just kind of like catching up and seeing what's up with you. So, yeah, like how have you been the last little while?
So busy. Like hella busy. Yeah, it's pretty much so January was slow. Some stuff got canceled, because like Omicron was definitely like lurking.
Yeah.
Especially in LA, it was just insane. But February did a tour with Shred Bundy, then did a tour with Wise, like days after. Then days after the freaking Wise thing, I like had another show with Shred Bundy. Then I left for like a month with Zulu. Come back a few weeks after that. A week after that we have like this 10 minute. We did like something with Tim Heidecker. Then we had the studio. Zulu was in the studio. Then I took a break from the studio with Zulu, did a tour with Shred Bundy. Came back, more studio stuff. It's just been like shows, tours between like, and then like there was one show on the Wise tour where MADHOUSE, like my new band, we opened, and then right after MADHOUSE was Shred Bundy playing, and then right after that was Wise, all in one night.
So you did 3 back-to-back sets.
With 3, I did 3 guitars and 3 fits because I had to do. I literally had to. I literally had to pop out, but
yeah. You're like, I got to change my rig and then go to the bathroom and get the next fit on. Dude, that's so funny.
So everything has just been like, there's some points where it's like, it's just layered. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to be here in the studio this day and then I'll show later on. But it's really sick. It's so sick. Because now it's like, music is pretty much like a full-time thing for me now.
Right.
So now I just joined a band called APSARA. By the time this is being recorded, we have a show on Sunday with By All Means, which is fire from P&W. Face Packs, which is the team, they're in Coachella Valley. Control is really sick. I rock with Control. I haven't seen them in years. So yeah, after the podcast, I'm going to like jam the APSARA songs, learn them because I don't know them. And then tomorrow's losing the studio. Still, today we had an off day. It's just so much. Yeah, it's like relentless, but it's like it's I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I'm really grateful.
Totally.
It's really sick.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, like it feels like a 9-day difference as far as when I've had you on for the first time, when I'm thinking about when I had Anaya on for the first time, and it was just like, oh yeah, we play in these bands and we're doing these things, but who knows? And now it's like I have to fight to know everyone. Yeah, I think you and I were struggling to set up the right day because it's like I'm on tour and I have this amount of time and then back to it. So I've been in that mix myself with just knowing how to make sure this podcast can be consistent while like also being very aware of people's schedule. Like there's someone that I've been trying to get for episode 200, but like he's on tour for the next like 3 months. So I'm like, I think the timing is going to work right when he's done that we can do it. And it will be right in time when we're hitting our 200th episode. But it's like, it's just wild.
I feel that.
I just wanted to go back to how you said you had 3 fits at that show, playing 3 sets, and I respect the hell out of that because as someone that does multiple iterations or podcasts a day at times, I gotta change my fit so it doesn't feel like, oh, are these recorded on the same day? So any of the
I didn't even think of
photographers,
that. That's crazy.
you got to be like, unless you're wearing like this fit is worth being documented 3 times over, I guess. What were the 3 fits at that show that you were rocking? Paint the picture.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. So the homie pulled up with like it was like a polo, but not the brand. It was just like a polo shirt. They had money all over it, and he just pulled up with it as a joke. And I was like, "Oh, that's hard." So like, I was wearing that, and I just thought it was like I don't know. I've only wore that one day. It's actually still in the venue. I remember where I took it off and just put it there, and it was my homie's spot. It's a studio and a venue, and I went there like maybe a week or two ago, and I saw the shirt. I was like, okay, well, it's still there. And then there's that, and there's been Heartthrob. Oh, the guys from Reclaim have a new
yeah. Shout out to Brad.
Punk. Yeah. So I had I was wearing the Heartthrob crop top. It was like this little on me. I was wearing that for the shred set, and the Y set was so funny because the singer of Y's, Nick, was a really, really, really good friend of mine. He had a band back in the day when he lived in Virginia that was called Time to Act.
Time to Act, okay.
Yeah, so the show was supposed to be in San Diego where he used to live. And but the show got canceled. So I was gonna pop out with his old band shirt in San Diego because he went from Virginia to San Diego. So I was gonna now he's in LA now, but I was gonna wear his old shirt in San Diego. But San Diego show got canceled. So I ran to the whip. I was like, I'll be right back. I came back with it. And his face, it was so sick seeing him geek to see his old band shirt. But I know he gave it to me, so I know he knew I had it. But it was just hilarious to me to pop out in that. So I did that. I wanted to be shirtless most of the time because it was really hot. It was like a DIY spot. But
right.
And then for the first one I had, shout out Fender, because Fender has been hooking it up. Had a Fender Strat for the first set. Second, I had an orange Jackson Dinky I used.
Oh yeah. That's right up my alley. Color and brand of guitar.
It was so fire. Then I used it's a Dean Vendetta. It's custom. It has it's hot pink. It's a hot pink fuchsia, a Dean Vendetta that I've been using for Wise, and it's in standard, so I use it for pretty much whoever. But
right,
yeah, so I use that, and that's probably my favorite guitar. That one and I have a green Strat now. Those two are just my favorites. They just sound so good. And they play so well.
Yeah,
and my homie made me, shout out Tristan. He made me I call it the Frankenstar. It's a star body. It's like a 90s Antares star body with a 2000s Fender neck.
Okay.
With a Seymour Duncan in it, and it's real DIY, real Frankenstein, Eddie Van Halen. I call it the Frankenstar but that plays super crazy. So that's probably my other favorite guitar. But yeah.
How many guitars do you even have?
A lot. The ones I use, there's the Player Series Strat has a humbucker in it. It's a blue and white gradient. I use that. And then for Zulu, I pretty much just use it's a candy apple green. It's sparkly. It's a Strat with a humbucker. Same model as the other ones, different color. And then I have the Frankenstar thing, which I use for shreds sometimes or just whoever. And then that Dean Vendetta, the fuchsia one, and then the orange Dinky. And then at home I used to use it for Zulu. Now I just use it wherever. It's a black Epiphone Les Paul. It was signed by Jerry Cantrell.
Oh wow,
which is crazy for Alice in Chains. My mom was mad that I didn't want to use it, but because it was signed by him. So I started using it, and then it just the autograph wiped away. I was like, bro, but yeah.
Like, was she mad because she's like, I'm gonna try and flip this one day for a big, a big profit because it's a signed piece of memorabilia, and then you're like, oh well, it's gone now. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, oh, let me keep it. So I said, you never played that guitar I gave you, so I started using it, and then I just wiped away. So now it's just like little like
careful what you wish for,
dots
Mom.
instead of that thing. Yeah, but I use that, and I have like a PB that's like a beat up guitar. I'm not gonna leave the house with that. Like that thing is raggedy, but
right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that was like 7, 6, 8, something like that guitar.
What are your thoughts on any like rock star level people like signing memorabilia? I think I was always like weirded out by that when I was like, even before like getting into any counterculture kind of music, it was always like, you want someone to like just Sharpie their like initials. That was always weird to me, and definitely like getting into more of like the underground scene, it's like that would be extremely weird if someone was going up to any person in a hardcore band, because it's like, yeah, like there's no 9 times out of 10 there's no green room, everyone's like on the same level. But I feel like hardcore bands are getting bigger now, where like Turnstile might be being approached at their shows being like, hey, can you sign my shoe? And I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Dude, honestly, I have been signing so many autographs. I'm not just trying to be like, oh, cool, Brax is so cool, but like, but like, actually, it's definitely like mind blowing. Like, because I was telling the homie the other day, like, since this like 2-year break between like shows, or like year and a half, whatever, there's been like kids who have since graduated high school and haven't been to a show yet,
Right.
So a lot of younger kids would come up and like give pictures and like stuff. I've signed like a grip of autograph. It makes me feel so wild. I remember, and we did a tour. It was like our first tour back. I think it was the first Zulu tour in general. It was last summer. It was us and Scout and Head to Wall. We had the Abolish White Hardcore shirt, and we were signing a grip of them, like just signing them. Kids, oh, can I get a picture? I was holding it up, like it was so wild, but like I don't know. My idea on autographs has definitely changed. Like now, I just think it's cool that people are willing to just like, hey, can you use a sign this? Like that to me is just like, wow. Like the idea of me being sought after and appreciated and admired so much that someone's like, yo, just write your name on this is like crazy. Like yeah, like I don't know if you watch wrestling, but I have like an RVD thing. He's a wrestler, like the guy that did like he signed it for something. I was so geeked that, RVD signed something. I got a picture with him. So to me, it's like me as a kid wanting this wrestler to sign something. I'm like, wow, there's kids that will see me before and be like, hey, sign this. I'm like, yo, that's nuts. Like,
yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, I feel like it's super easy. I'm sure there's some people that are like listening to the podcast that might be like, oh, that's corny or that's lame. But I think I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm like, most things that maybe I don't like, it doesn't actually matter to me for me to have a strong and aggressive opinion about like that, So I think like something that I'm turning 30 next year, and something that I'm trying to remind myself is that anything that I might see as like a very complex situation or something in hardcore it might be the initial thing for someone first going to that show. And that could be anything from like, I feel like my mosh schedule at times is very inconsistent when I'm not filming. Sometimes I'm just like, fuck it, and I'm just kind of going off. And I feel like you and I have very similar mosh styles. We're both like tall, lanky dudes, so we just like to throw our arms around. So there was a local show here, and I definitely like threw an arm and connected with someone. And I feel like me moshing is always like, it's so weird that some people will just like, I got tagged in the story being like, thank you, Spencer, for moshing on me. It was I was like, oh, like, I'm like, are you good? He's like, yeah. Like, I thought it was just cool because it was you hitting me in the side of the head with your arm or something. And it's like, it's like that, like, oh, that it might be that person's like first year in DIY music, So any kind of like getting knocked out or like something thrown at them or like signing something might mean the world to them because it's such a cool experience and everything is new and fresh, versus like you or I might be like, oh, that's a little annoying, or meh, whatever, you know? So I think
My
just
thing,
reminding yourself that like there's a lot of, like you said, new people that are getting into this who are just like
yeah.
just in full geek mode at this point.
My thing now, I'm like in my stage of just like making music now. I'm so very much over the like jaded cool guy. Like, oh, this is whack. That's corny. I'm just like, dude, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. People may have their opinions in group chats or their opinions behind closed doors, but like I'm very much over just having to just have discourse about it,
Right.
everything, and always be negative about it. Like, dude, I can't believe this kid did this. Like, oh, okay, believe it. Like he did it, and it happened. Like, I'm so over like being, and everyone's just so judgmental and mean about stuff. I'm just like, people just don't get there's like there's younger kids that go to shows and they don't understand how things work. Sometimes they just want like, I'm not gonna go and mosh on kids hella crazy to show them like, oh, this is what happens. Like, learn. I'm like, if I'm moshing all crazy and there's a 14-year-old kid, I'm like, oh, my bad, bro. Like, I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna like show them the hard way. Like, brother, kids. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just see things a little differently, and I'm not saying that, oh yeah, this is listen to Brax. It's like this is how I see things. I'm just like very go with the flow. Like I'm definitely people are like, oh, all these TikTok kids are coming to shows and da, 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 da. I'm like for me it was like Facebook flyers. For a generation before that, it was MySpace. Maybe like the B9.
Yep.
People may not know about the B9. I know you do, but you know, there was like, maybe it was the B9 is how you got into hardcore. Maybe you're old enough that you just got a flyer and here's a flyer, go to this tomorrow. It's like now it's, oh, top 10 bands I saw on TikTok or whatever. Like that's for sure not my vibe at all. I'm gonna put that out there. But I mean, like, if that's how people says, if someone got into your band because I'll say on TikTok, I'm just like, that's not at all how I, would get into music. I don't even have the app, but it's like people need to understand the times are changing. And you sound like an old head when you're like, because everyone's, oh, I hate these old heads complaining about shows now. You sound like an old head complaining about kids coming to shows now. You know what I'm saying? Like kids
Right.
are finding new ways to come to shows. I mean, they're paying to come in because they want to see you, or they want to go to a show. They may be push pitting or whatever when there's people trying to mosh all crazy. That may be irritating to some people, whatever. But I'm just like, just let people do what they gotta do because everyone comes to shows their own way. And like,
Right.
everyone is introduced into heavy music or whatever in their own way. I feel like now it's, oh, I saw you on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. And like that's cool. It's not, I mean, Instagram's cool, but TikTok, like I'm not really tapped into that like that. I don't really be on TikTok like that, but I don't know. Like, it's what it is. People are very much like so set in their ways, and it's kind of sad to me.
Right.
Sometimes.
I totally agree, and I think like I've thought a lot about this in the sense that people are very quick to judge something that they just don't understand. And that could be anything
Yeah.
from like a social media app to like whatever the fuck. And I think you're totally right, is that like every generation of hardcore has had some kind of online, this is like actually before the internet. Like if you were listening to hardcore before the internet, like you're an actual old head. Like
Yeah,
we'll just
yeah.
put it out there. But like, if you're 40 or getting to your 40s or in your 30s or whatever, and you had things like MySpace, you had things like the Bridge 9 boards, you had things like like just the early days of Bandcamp, whatever it is, like everything just changes, and either your band or the music genre in general is going to adapt and like be in line with those changes, because the world, like, the changes are just a part of just the entire like world. It's not necessarily just within the music culture that we're a part of. And I
Yeah.
look at it as like everyone has their own entry point into this, but I think the important thing is like what happens after that entry point? What happens after that first couple series of shows that really like open their eyes to the community? Because that's like really like the music is great, but I think a lot of people stay because of the community that hardcore brings. And that could be anything from like getting to just like meet friends that like listen to the same like weird music that you do and like want to like go to shows on the weekend versus like, you know, just like going out and partying or clubbing or whatever, or whatever it is. But there's just like a sense of camaraderie with like people from just literally all walks of life at this point. So I think that is really important versus like they go to shows, but then they don't get invested in the community, but they're still like fronting that it's like a part of their life when they're not in the community. That's like the one thing that I'm like, you know, like it's not for you or I to name names, but there have been people that I've connected through the online, and then I talk with local people from that area. It's like I've never seen this person at a show ever.
I can name some, for sure. Yeah.
So, you know, and again, that's not to throw shade. It's just like I think it really, I think that, you know, and I can only speak for myself really, but like I know that I have a very online presence when it comes to this podcast and filming bands, but I'm also the person who's like going to the local show that has 30 people and like, you know, doing as much as I can to like give back to that versus like I'm trying to connect myself to all these different scenes that I'm actually not a part of, if that makes sense.
People they it's no mystery. People will see me like in a living room beatdown show or something like, you know, or like or just like a garage, like I don't know, mincecore freaking, you know, like a 2-piece mincecore band's playing 30 seconds. Like I'm always at the spots. I'm always everywhere.
Right.
And I know who's like not tapped in and who is. But for the sake of just keeping it pushing with my own like peace and sanity, I don't want to sound like, you know, all you know, but like, you know, I'm just like I don't have time to like if you're coming to the gig, having fun, it's cool. If you're coming and you're just like you have your own agenda and ulterior motive, as long as it doesn't disrupt what's going on, do whatever you gotta do. Like I'm chilling. I'm hell chilling. I don't got no type of time for what old boy and then you know just doing with his thing and just like as long as you're like as long as everyone's safe when you're there, and I'm just like you can do whatever you gotta do, bro. You can blog about it or whatever. I do not, you know. I just, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I feel it though. I just don't. I'm really against the like seeing other kids and mosh on all crazy. That's just like I saw it happen. I literally saw it happen in real time. I don't want to get into the story. It was a kind of a crazy story, but yeah, I saw like some 14-year-old kid. Some dude was probably 20 when this dude was born. Like the kid was born. So this dude was just like Mosh is stupid hard. I'm like, bro, I know you see this it was a visible child. Like I was like, got braces, little pimples. I'm like, bro, this kid's little. Like you're moshing on him so crazy. Like relax.
This kid might be in after school program still, bro. Like chill.
Yeah, because he was like, you know, like push pitting and I was talking to him after. He like, this is my first show. Like he told me like he said straight up, it was a Zulu scout. So like I saw Zulu and scout on TikTok. I didn't know how people pit. I didn't know how they mosh. So I just came. I was pushing people around. And he left with his nose all busted. I'm like, bro, like, I felt hella bad. You know, I mean, it's going to happen. But I'm like, this dude was like 40 something, just mosh stupid. I'm like, bro, relax. Like, come on.
Yeah. Like,
I feel it though. It is what it is.
I think it's important to read the room for sure. Like, if it's like, I know that there are fans of your bands and Scowl that like want to go that hard, but I think it's important to like kind of just like gauge like, hey, am I the 1% of mosh people that are in this pit right now, and the 99% are just the people that are pushing? Because the thing is, it's like push pitting is like everyone can do it, and there's no like good or bad way to do it. You know, it just kind of it's just there's like good or bad ways to do like, you know, to do like the arm swings and all that. Like, you know, you see and recognize when someone has like that just on point style. And you see it when someone's like, oh, someone's a little bit more loosey goosey or whatever. But the thing is with when you're trying to combine it, it can just be like someone
A
that doesn't,
mess.
yeah, it could be a mess. And someone that doesn't have that understanding is like, hey, when I'm doing this, you need to give me space. I'm not asking to be pushed. If I don't push you, just don't push back, you know?
I feel that.
I
Yeah.
feel like that should be a golden rule for sure. But, you know, to your point, you know, and at the same time, there are a lot of people that, you know, they talk about their first hardcore experience and they did get like slam dunked or knocked out or whatever. And for some reason, there's something in a lot of hardcore people's head that like for some reason that's okay for them. And then they just continue and then they become like the next big person in the scene. So it's a very convoluted thing, very complex, but I think it's important to just like read the room because there's a lot of new people here and we want them to stay versus like them making a TikTok. I got knocked out at this show. Let me tell you about it. Part 7.
I feel that. I for sure feel that.
So you were mentioning a little bit before about you know, Zulu being in the studio right now, and you know, depending on when someone is watching this, you know, it could be days after we record this podcast, or it could be, you know, years after, maybe when the record's already out. But yeah, talk to me about what you guys have going on. Obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of things that you either don't know about or can't say, but as much as you can kind of like allude to, you know, what's happening in the Zulu camp of things.
Yeah, we all like would like send riffs to the chat. Just just coming up with like what we want to do. I was really big into like that, like a death metal influence.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool.
I kept saying like, yo, Entombed Wolverine Blues. I kept like punishing everybody about, yo, listen to Wolverine Blues, crazy. Like, so I wouldn't necessarily say Wolverine Blues made the cutting room floor, but definitely like a lot of 90s death metal that's like less bluesy, you know, like less rock and rolly. Like I'm saying more like the crazy extreme, like Malevolent Creation or like I don't know, like Gore Guts or like, you know, like the crazy like blast beat every 5 seconds type crazy stuff like that. A lot of like traditional grind. I was literally yesterday I was listening to one of the songs played back. It's like Insect Warfare. And everyone's like, what? Like, you know, it's Insect Warfare. They're like, what's that? Who's that? I was like, I heard Insect Warfare. And I really hear a lot of like, we're doing lows and highs sometimes because Christine's vocals are crazy and she does crazy highs. And I was doing like more death metal lows. But some of these parts straight up sounded like Insect Warfare. Like, yo, this is nuts. It'd be like a blast with just like a high and a low simultaneously over a blast. Like it's straight up sound like Insect Warfare. Like, yo, that's nuts. Right. So there's definitely, you know, like, I mean, there's a lot, obviously hardcore kids are gonna like it. There's hardcore. There's like some metalcore influence on there too, which is interesting. Because like Christine's really in the metalcore and she brings that element. I'm really in the death metal, I bring that element. So all of our like tastes shine on it.
Cool.
I was pushing for D beat too. A lot of D beat, a lot of like traditional like OG power violence and like a lot of like mints and stuff like that. I was like pushing for. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's but in a good way. We were thinking too, there's like melodic type of, I wouldn't say like sunbather-esque melodic, not that crazy, but there's definitely like melodic parts like, oh, okay, like this is interesting. But yeah, like I'm not giving it away, like there's like pianos, there's acoustic stuff,
Oh wow.
It's like
Okay.
all over the place, but it's all in like the realm of okay, like this is Zulu. That scared me. I thought there was something.
No, it's
I
the
was like, oh,
dog.
it's haunted.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay.
You brought up we brought up Heartthrob, like Brad's new band. When he was on the podcast, he like heard something behind him, and you know how his studio is. It's like his desk, and then it's like a big long hallway, and then he went, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep this in or not. And then like I was like, if someone's breaking into Brad's studio and like murdering him on the podcast, like that would be super traumatic for me. And then he like came back and it was like his homie, and we were just laughing about it afterwards.
Oh, okay.
But no, that's really cool. And like almost, this kind of answers one of my next questions, because we've had Anaya on the show twice now, and Zulu kind of started as this like he would write everything, and then kind of like brought the other members into play. But it sounds like this the first time that like everyone has a say when it comes to like the writing process, and it's like a little bit more collaborative than it was in the past?
Pretty much like the EP was him and I, like the first EP, like I forgot what it's called, to be honest, but like the one with all like the parade on it, like the like our like demo or EP.
Yeah.
That was like him and I brushing ideas off on each other. And the second EP was literally that was just him. Like he wrote all
Gotcha.
the second EP, yeah. Now it's definitely like we're all throwing things together. Cause it's like it's a full LP. Like it's like I want to say like 12 songs, I think. So it's definitely like I'd be like, oh, here's this old song I wrote back in the day. Listen to this, and like we're pick parts and do stuff like that.
Right.
But now, like, yeah, it's definitely coming together, and it's like we're all putting in things. I'm like really stoked for it.
Yeah.
Like, actually, yeah, it should be really sick.
I know like a lot of people that I look up to who've been doing music for a long time just really attest to like the first like full record you do as a band is like probably one of the most important things that you could ever do musically. Because like doing an EP that like really kills or maybe it flops is kind of like it's good, but it's not as like it's the record is like the make or break kind of moment. It's way harder to
Yeah,
recover as a band if your record doesn't do well, especially your very first one. And just look at any band that's like really popular in hardcore right now. Most of those bands have like a killer record behind them that are like
yeah,
pushing them just over the line. Like when Pain of Truth has a full record out, it's just gonna be game over for them. Like the fact that band is doing so well off of like an EP, a split, and a couple singles here and there is crazy to me.
yeah. That band too. Like I saw them for the first time last month. So we played like 3 shows with them. My mind was blown. I was like, yo, this is actually a fire band. Like I was like, yo, this is sick. Like, because I only heard like 2 songs, like the test and then like the LIMYC, whatever.
Right.
That's all I heard. This is sick. And I see it live, like, this is nuts. Like that band for sure nuts. So yeah, like stuff like that. Like, I'm really stoked when bands can just drop like a demo and it'd be like the hottest thing ever, like that's so sick to me. But yeah, it's definitely coming together for sure. This week coming up, it's like we're wrapping it up. Just did leads yesterday. We're gonna be leads tomorrow. Yeah, should be done. We're doing like percussion stuff. It's gonna be like, yeah, it's all types of stuff. Like it's gonna be nuts, but it's definitely coming together. We have a name and everything for it. The art is about to get done. Yeah, it's like really coming together like fast.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool to hear how many new flavors that you guys are going to be experimenting with in the Zulu sphere, because I think the first 2 EPs are like just top notch, like the songwriting, the production, the everything makes sense. And I was kind of honestly curious. I was like, how are you guys going to evolve as a band? Like, which direction are they going to take? Because I feel like it could go way more punk, it could go way darker, it could go here and there, and it sounds like it's just a combination of like a lot of different things coming together, which is really, really exciting.
And not every song on the record is gonna be like hardcore or PV. Like there's stuff that's not even heavy. Yeah, I don't want to like say too much, but there's like a couple songs that are just completely different genre, completely like not even extreme metal or no death metal, not hardcore, no punk. They're just like totally different type songs. They're like two, like pianos and congas and horns and little percussion things. Like it's like, yeah, it's not messy. Like it's not like a bunch of nonsense together. Like it's very cohesive. It flows well. I'm really stoked. I really feel like this is going to be a really good thing for us. I'm like really stoked.
Yeah, no, I'm quite excited as well. So something, Anaya was, guest 1 of season 2, and I think shortly after when you guys were initially starting to go on tour, because I think we had recorded that like wow, man, things have just flown by, but I guess that would have been February of last year. But when just shortly after we recorded that, you guys were on tour and put out some merch that you guys were going to be touring with, and it was the Abolish White Hardcore shirt, and it just, that has taken on a life of its own. But like for the people listening that I have no idea what that is, can you bring them up to speed on, I guess, like what it was and how it was received, and some of the crazy things that had happened because of that?
There's always like in the van is banter, just complete crazy banter in the van, like when we're going to shows or whatever. And Dez says something hella crazy, as Dez does often. Dez is the guitarist for Zulu.
Mm-hmm.
And me also, I'm always saying some ridiculous stuff in the van. We were both saying crazy stuff. And he was like, he said the Boss White Hardcore thing was a joke. Because like I'm always coming up with like joke shirt ideas.
Sure. Okay.
You know, like, okay, you know SOD?
Yeah.
You remember Speak English or Die? Like that super crazy thing they did. I'm not endorsing that, but
okay.
Well, they SOD had a shirt that says Speak English or Die. It was like an album.
Okay.
I want to have like Speak Ebonics or Die, and have just like a black guy on the cover. Like I would say like a lot of like stupid jokes, like. But he was just like, abolish white hardcore. And I was like, oh, that's hella funny. He was like, let's do it. I was like, whatever. And he mocked it up. I was like, oh, we're doing this. Like, yeah, why not? I was like, I don't know. I think it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And the first day, people were like, oh, this is cool. And then like it hit the internet. And then the next day.
Because you printed the shirts for that tour, correct?
Yeah, we needed something like, And the first day, oh, this is cool, and then like this, as the tour went on, it was on the internet. Everyone's like, yo, do you have this shirt? And it sold out like, we had to re-up. Like it sold out like crazy.
Right.
On that first tour. Like it absolutely like, oh my God, it was not like by the time it was like the last leg of the tour, like, oh, do you have the shirt? Like, dude, we haven't had that shirt for like 3 or 4 days. Like it was hella gone.
Right.
And it's so nuts to me. I'm not really nuts, because hardcore's full of microaggression weirdos anyway. But like the fact that it was just that much of like a big deal that we had that shirt, like people were actually really mad. Like there's a singer of a band that I liked a lot, and it's kind of sad that this happened, but he was on Facebook saying like, oh, I'm gonna press them if I see them, blah 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 blah. Not gonna name his name, obviously, but it was a band I used to like a lot, and I was like, wow, that's how you feel, bro, like. And he's like, anyone has a shirt on is getting beat up. Like, we don't rock with this. It's racist, 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 racist. What if I say abolish black hardcore? I'm like, why do you have to say it? Like, like why do you have to? It was just so crazy that we're gonna play a show in Utah, and the city council apparently was contacted, and they said, "Listen, there's a terrorist band playing in Utah. Shut the show down."
They called you guys a terrorist band?
Yeah, it's like the way it's
Can
sounding
we
like
can we pause here really quick? The fact that
crazy.
someone probably likes your music to a degree and then full 180 switches to call their local city council, which is like one step away from calling the cops, and then calling you guys a terrorist group, that's like the lowest, that's scum that's at the bottom of the barrel, like that you got to scrape up with like a spatula. Oh my god.
Like they made it seem like we're just like this like black nationalist militia that's like scalping white people. Like I'm like, I'm like, no, bro, like we're playing a 9-minute power round set. Like it was literally 9 minutes. We didn't have samples. It was a 9-minute set. I'm like, we're not doing nothing crazy. We're just paying us 9 minutes to sell the merch and leaving. Like, but and there's like all this lore around this, like, oh, this band's like the baddest band on earth, like NWA, like so dangerous. I'm like, bro, we're not really. We're just like, we're not doing anything crazy. It's a shirt with 4 words on it.
Right.
Zulu, and in the back, it wasn't anything crazy, but people were super pressed, and someone called a venue in Oakland too, and they're like, "Oh, like, do you know this band's racist?" So, shout out Eli's for this. Eli's was the venue in Oakland. They I think it's what it's called. They took the email and put it on a flyer and said, "Come see Zulu, the craziest band," or whatever. I was like, "Yo, like," it was just so nuts. But people were like threatening us. Like it was a while where it was always funny. Then there was like maybe speaking for myself, there's maybe a day where I was actually kind of scared because there was a lot of negative attention was hitting us crazy. And I just didn't want to deal with, I don't want to speak anything crazy into existence, but I didn't want to deal with something crazy. Like something that's like out of the realm of like, like some really serious stuff. I don't want to speak anything, but I was like, for like a day, I was like, okay, maybe it's not as funny now. Now it's actually kind of scary. And then as the day went by, I was like, okay, that's whatever. And I went back to like trolling and clowning. But yeah, because people were definitely like threatening us. And I was getting a whole lot of some pretty hard R's hitting my DMs. And yeah, getting a lot of crazy, like getting called a monkey and stuff in the DMs, like real crazy stuff. Like I was like, y'all are really tripping, bro. Like, I mean, like that stuff is funny to me. Like just people, because I'm like, y'all are that pressed over like a Gildan t-shirt, like a Gildan Hammer shirt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's down bad to be that mad over like a shirt. But
yeah, and like the point of the shirt, like to your point, was like it started as a joke, and like I don't think it was necessarily like, if anything, it might be like, oh, like, is there such a thing as a white hardcore, and like, should that exist? Like there might have been like some underlying like, hey, let's maybe like it creates a bit of a conversation, but like hearing it straight from you, it's like, yeah, we were just talking like some shit in the van and we thought this would be funny. Yeah. And it like there's like the people that maybe went to the crazy extreme of like calling city councils and like sending like actual racist messages to you and I'm sure other members of the band. And then there's the other side of the coin of people who are like, oh, that's really cool. I want to buy that, and like sold it out. You guys have printed it on other stuff. So I just think it's wild that like the minute that there's like even a sliver of like, oh, now I can actually be racist because I feel like this is a racist shot against me as a white person, is bananas to me. Like that shit is so wacky.
It's like I definitely get a shirt can have something like crazy on it. You could be offended by it. Like I get that.
Sure.
But and if hardcore is so inclusive, hardcore is so inclusive, then why are you pressed? Like if hardcore is so progressive, oh, we're here to like, it's not. If we're getting like if I'm getting called all kinds of crazy stuff, and we're like our lives are threatened because of a shirt that is not even in theory racist to anybody, that's why I'm like confused. Like I would understand if it said like kill every white person you see and eat them or something. Like, yeah, that'd be nuts. Like, that's a little crazy, but like it just
Braxton said it. No, it's just
my thing was just like we're saying abolish the idea. I mean, it's a joke, but to if you want to have discourse about it, the idea was like we're just saying get rid of the idea of hardcore just being for white people. Like it's not like
right.
that's it. Like that's literally it. Like we're just saying, hey, like once again, and I'm not gonna be that guy, but it comes to a whole like Black Lives Matter debate. It's like, oh, well, what about white lives? My life matters too, brother. That's not fair to say. Just it's like it's not. It's not like I don't know. It's a debate that's being fair, but I'm just like I just don't get why the shirt was called number 2.
It's like the same energy would be like you guys saying black power violence because that's your guys' like Instagram handle would be like, well, what about white power violence? It's like that's that's not the conversation we're trying to have. If anything, we're just trying to make a funny ass shirt that clearly people want and rep at shows. Like I see that every once in a while, like when I'm watching like a Hey 5-6 video or like, just it pops up every once in a while. So like it's just wild. So I think you guys probably came through the clearing where it's like, yeah, this is just something that we can bring out if we want to. And like, definitely, knock on wood through the thick of the storm when it comes to any negativity when it came to that.
Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of peckerwood tendencies that they don't know about. That's one thing for sure. But we just did a drop of it like last month or something, just for the hell of it. Like, and did pretty well, but we're not gonna run to the ground. We agree like this is probably it. Like we did like a black colorway and then like a hoodie of it, and that's about it. We're not gonna keep doing it,
it becomes like, oh, it's like, are we beating a dead horse at this point? I think Endgame kind of got into a bit of that because we got like the whole like bad bitches only like branding,
the BBO
shit, and then it was like after a while I was like, I think we got to like start to move out of this. But to your point, there was a lot of people that just took that as like, oh, this band's just a bunch of misogynists, and we're like, what are you talking about? We have like so many friends who are female who help out this band. Lots of our like girlfriends and partners are either like in sex work or like things like that. So like that's the whole idea, is that like, ride for girls and like, yeah, bad bitches only. And that was like the whole mantra. And some people just took that negatively, which you're allowed to. If you see something on a shirt that offends you, you're allowed to feel offended, I guess. But without being able to hear out the person, I think is the thing that I always get like, I've been coining it as like sinful scrutiny. It's like you can scrutinize something, but when it's like, when you're not giving the benefit of the doubt or the opportunity, then it becomes a little sus to me.
Yeah, for sure. I see that. I'm just like, I don't know. There's one of the reasons I deleted Twitter is just always discourse about everything. There's one thing I wanted to touch on. It's like, okay, so I never really go down because Anaya's never had Twitter and he runs the Zulu Twitter. So he's on Twitter. I'm like, yo, like don't read everything because you're gonna stay up at night, cold sweat. So you can't read everything because everyone's gonna say something crazy. Like, like I go through YouTube. Well, okay, I don't. If I'm on YouTube, it's like for like Watch Mojo, like top 10 Thanos moments or something. Like or like wrestling highlights. Like I don't really be on YouTube like that. Like
the 10 things you missed in the new Spider-Man movie. I'm like, click.
Yeah, like legit. Yeah. Like that's in my history. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, but like I watch stuff like that, but RC the lamb goat screenshot that someone sent me that someone said something about Zulu, or the TikTok criticizing. Someone said I had a Warrant cherry pie shirt. Oh, why did the guitarist crop a perfectly good Warrant shirt? Like, bro, it's just everyone's saying something. I'm just like, it's funny. I don't really care, but it's like every once in a while, it's just like people would say like stupid stuff, and I just keep it pushing. Like everyone's entitled to their opinion, and like nothing on the internet will really like bug me like that because I've grown up with people actually like hurting me and saying crazy stuff, like actually physically harming me growing up in like middle school, elementary, high school. So like someone criticizing my $6 shirt is just like, okay, bro, like you got me. Like it's a bootleg warrant shirt I crop top, like, you know, like something like that doesn't bother me. But there is this double standard that that people don't really address really. And it's like I always saw like, oh, Zulu came out the blue. Like it's nepotism, or they blew up because who's in the band? They're industry plants. They didn't pay their dues. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, how often do you see like group of like, it's like white dudes with wife beaters, and it's like members of blah 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 and blah 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 and members of blah blah blah. Demo coming soon on blah 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 records. Hardcore is back or something. You know, like some cool little tagline or whatever. And it's like it's a members of band, and it's like the band's only up because of who's in it. Like people are like, oh dude, blah 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 plays the guitar and blah blah blah. So I gotta check this out. And like there's a lot of bands that are like that I rock with, but that band itself, the blah 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 on blah 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 records coming soon. That band they didn't pay their dues. They just consist of members that paid their dues, and now they're a new band that just took off quick. But the scrutiny that is in place for us as a black band isn't in place for the non-black or the white bands. Like no one's gonna attack that band as industry plant. But then we were writing this stuff in 2018. Me and I, our first show was 2019. We, in theory, haven't been around that long, but we haven't been coming out of the blue. It was definitely a long process, but it's like, no, like all of a sudden now the all black band is blowing up, and it's like, oh well, it's because people like Brax because he did this, people like Anaya because he's this, or Dez is, you know, like they have to like pick apart and like everything that we're doing because it's like, oh, they're blowing up out the blue. People are mad about it. It's like, I've hella dummy paid my dues, like specifically. Like there's a story I want to tell. It's like, so people were saying like we didn't pay our dues. People in my hood, like in the 951, the 909, 760 in like SoCal, Inland Empire, people will know me. Like my name is good. Like people know what I've been through, people know what I've done, people know what I'm doing currently. I haven't turned my back on my scene. I'm still very much involved in my scene.
Right.
People know about the punk days and the thrash days and the grindcore power balance shows I used to play and get no credit for anything. Like people know what I'm on. And it's like so I play a show and it was called PK's Roadhouse in Lake Elsinore.
What does PK stand for?
I don't know, probably something stupid, but
okay.
That spot, yeah, like it was PK's Roadhouse. It was some punk band I was in. Like the singer, the homie, had like Liberty Spikes. I was wearing a Seance shirt. The homie Ryan, I had his band on, but I was all punked out, you know. And besides that shirt, I was all punked out. I had like the patches and the leather jacket and all that. We were playing a punk show. I walked in, I put my Epiphone Les Paul, I put it down in the case, walked out to get my gear, I come back. And I pick up the case, like, what are you doing? Why are you picking up the gear? Like, we don't like people taking our stuff and walking away. I was like, what do you mean? It's my guitar. Right. And he's like, well, why'd you bring your guitar? I was like, I'm playing the show tonight. Oh, really? You're in the band? I was like, yeah. Keep in mind, it's nothing but like it was like a hillbilly bar. Nothing but like white dudes everywhere. Right. And I'm like, yeah, I'm playing the show. He's like, oh, you're in the band? I was like, yeah, I'm in the band. He's like, oh, well, sorry. And then they wouldn't let me in the green room. You know, it wasn't really a green room. It was a bar, so it's like a supply room. But they had a couch in there. So they wouldn't let me in the supply room because they wouldn't believe I was playing. You know, like every time I would come back, you know, who's this black dude with a leather jacket and a crop top on in this venue? Like no one believed I played the show at all. I kept telling I was playing. Then we played the show, and after I'm in the supply room talking to the guy that owns the venue, and we're talking about like favorite movies. And he mentions Pulp Fiction. You've seen everyone's seen Pulp Fiction. He mentions Pulp Fiction, and he's like, I love Pulp Fiction. And disclaimer, this is probably be the first time this word's been used on the podcast.
Okay.
So drum roll, please. But he's just like, oh, I love Pulp Fiction. And he quotes the movie, very quotable movie. But this white man decides to quote the dead nigger storage scene to my face in front of me, like, and he says it, and he quotes the whole dead nigger storage scene, which Quentin Tarantino said it because he loves saying that word so much, but he said it in the movie. Everyone's seen it, and I'm just like, I'm shocked. I'm like, there's no way he said this to me, and like everyone's like, what's the issue? Like no one sees it as an issue. I'm like, yo, this dude just said like, and I didn't know I was like completely mortified. I was like, yo, this is nuts. So I play the show and I get paid $2.67. And
for the people in the back, can you say that one more time? The amount?
I get paid $2.67 from playing the show.
That's an odd number. It's not like here's a 20. It's like I'm literally giving you pocket change.
It was this change, and that's what like I had to hear him say that. I had to get berated by the audience people, all this stuff. I'm giving change. I bought like one thing at Del Taco, like legit. Oh, you don't have Del Taco, huh?
No, but I did have Del Taco when I was down in California just a couple weeks ago, and
it's fire. But
oh, sorry, can we take? Did you see my Instagram stories of my name being spelt so incorrectly on Instagram?
I did not.
Okay, so it started at that. No, it didn't happen. First, sorry, this is a quick sidebar because I really want to get into this story that you're talking. But at the Starbucks in the airport, my name was spelled Spensor, so Spencer, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I thought it was an isolated thing, and then like I went to Del Taco. Sorry, my dog is. I went to Del Taco, and my name was spelled Spncer. So I'm like, what is happening? And then the next like couple days later, I went to another place, and then they spelled my name Sowncер, so Sancer. And I was like, this trip is cursed. No one knows how to spell my name properly.
That's very California.
Oh, okay. But going back to your story.
Yeah, so like I have to deal with the promoter saying nigger to my face, is white dude. I have to deal with everyone berating me and not believing I played the show. And I get not even $3. And that was my first paid show after at that point playing music professionally for 6 years.
Wow.
So I've been making music for 6 years professionally. I mean, like playing shows professionally for 6 years. Then my first show, all that happened, and I got paid not even $3. And it's like, I was walking to gigs in the rain, holding gear. I'm still walking the gigs. It's like people don't really get like what I have gone through, just myself, you know?
Right.
So it's like I have to deal with like, oh, Julian Peter, dude. It's like the band blew up kind of quick, but speaking for myself, like I've really, I feel as if earned what's going on, you know? And it's like there's just so many like people like they don't want to like if you can just not like us, like it's fine. Like you don't have to pull up all these other minute reasons why you don't like us when those reasons wouldn't irk you with any other band.
Right.
You know, it's like the whole paying dues thing is it's so ridiculous to me to say like, oh, giving pair of dues. It's like bro, I was making music for years and getting laughed at. I was making music for years and no one was taking me seriously
Right.
at all. Like at all.
I feel like anyone that rushes to that statement, it's like they don't know a thing about you. They don't know
Yeah.
your story. They don't know your background. And they're like too broken as a person to like, because it would take arguably less time to probably just dig into like, oh, okay, so Braxton played in this band and this band. Like, just if you really want to know someone's story, just go Instagram, tagged photos. Like, even if someone doesn't have like this crazy feed, go to tag photos and scroll all the way to the bottom. I'm sure you would probably see Braxton with a crazy looking guitar, still looking fly as fuck, and
In like
riffing.
2011 or something.
Totally,
Like,
totally. But I think
yeah,
it's just it's bananas, and this is always weird for me as someone that films bands. So it's not even like I'm just documenting the shows, but I get to see all the comments firsthand as they come in, where it's like talking about, oh, I knew this band couldn't do their vocals live, or Mosher at this time is whack. And I'm like, it's so easy. And something that I'm a firm believer in is like, you find what you're looking for. And whether that's like, if you're looking for negativity and drama and beef, like you'll find that. It's twitter.com, but like, jokes aside, like it's very easy to like, if you're after that, you can find it and you can just like ingrain yourself in it, and just like that's all that you can just play that very downtrodden game. If you're looking for positivity and people that like build you up and hype up everyone and not just like their homies, like there are people in the scene that do that, like in your local scene probably, but the hardcore scene in general. So like I always check myself of like, I got this podcast and this platform where it's like it would be so easy for me just to like bring on people and just like talk shit and talk smack, but like it's a huge goal of mine just to like put as much like good and positive stuff out into the world when it comes to hardcore, versus like talking about how a record or a band is whack or cringy. Like that it's so easy to do that, and I find it's just way more, looking back on everything I've done, I feel more proud off of like the positive spin that I've tried to do with people and off of records, versus like just tearing people through the mud,
it's like everyone has their little group chats where it's like, oh, you heard the new blah 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 single. It's cool, whatever. But I'm just like, I'm so tired of like people will be grown. I'm just like, I'm so tired of everyone always having something super negative to say. People only seek like like they thrive off something negative to say about like a band or something.
Right.
Like I'm never gonna publicly harass a band. I mean, if the band, the bassist and the singer got canceled for doing something, okay, that's one thing. But like,
sure,
if they're just playing music and it's like you don't like it, like I don't see, very seldom where I see a band that's actually like sonically bad. Like if you say a band sucks, it's like, okay, well the band is probably not your type of, it's not your cup of tea.
sure.
So like,
yeah,
that's that. But it sonically sounds good to somebody. Mm-hmm. Very seldom do you hear a band that's, oh, this actually just sucks. Like it's sonically, like nothing sounds good. It just sonically bad. But like there's a lot of bands that they sonically sound good, and what they do is for some people, it's just not for you.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm like, above this. I've definitely said it in the past, but it's like I'm very over this idea of like, you gotta be, like, oh, I'm too cool to like, I'm too cool to like this band. I'm too cool to, engage. I'm too cool to mosh this band. I'm too cool to like, people will be flaming me because I'm moshing for the opener band. It's like they had a cool part, or like my homies in the band, or they did a cover or something, or I just want to mosh. I'm bored, or like the band's cool. But people will like flame me for just supporting bands. Like when you get down to like the root of it on paper, I'm just supporting a band, and
totally.
everyone
Yeah.
thinks that's so funny and corny and goofy. They're like, oh, why you wearing that shirt? Ha ha. It's like, 'cause my homie's in this band. Or why you wearing that? Why you doing this? Ha ha. Ha. Brax has the blah blah blah. Brax is moshing the. Yeah, it was because the band. I like I want to support what's going on. We're here to like cultivate a scene, so it keeps going and going. Like I'm not trying to gatekeep nothing. Like it stops. It the scene stops if you just stop supporting bands, and people are never gonna stop being negative. I know that, but I want to say like how miserable of existence like you wake up and seek things to hate on, and everything you say is negative. Like that's just like it's sad and it's like super concerning to me.
Yeah.
That people that there's so much like hardcore discourse about this band sucks. Ha 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 ha. This band's corny. Ha ha ha. Okay, it's cool, but like is that all you have to say is just this band's whatever, this band sucks. Like it's just so draining to always have to deal with people just and no because what people say about me don't matter because I'm up. Like I don't care about these niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't care about these niggas, but like when like I just see somebody making fun of like the homies band or like this band or that band, I'm just like, bruh, like let them do their thing, like people probably think your band's corny. Like people probably think that what you're doing sucks. Like I just hate that. Like it always bothers me. There's always this negative discourse about something all the time. Like I'm just like, yo, grow up. It's like high school. Like everyone's always saying some crazy stuff. Like it makes me just like, because like I tell everybody, I've been going to like hardcore shows for a very long time, but in high school, for me, it was like metal, thrash, punk, like death metal, ska, all types of stuff like that. And I would go to hardcore punk shows, hardcore shows, ever so often. But it's like when I got out of high school, I would frequent them a little more, and I just noticed like sometimes like I was it was always like judgmental, like back in the day, people were so judgmental and so cliquey towards me. Like it was like the cool guy. Like it's either like you're the cool photocopy demo art guy, and you're just so low key and mysterious guy, or you're like the like crazy metallic hardcore guy, whatever, But like it was always a clique, and everyone was always so weird to me until like I had to prove myself or whatever, and until like a band I'm in starts to pop, and then it's like instead of me going to shows in the fits I wear, they're looking at me all weird. It's like, oh, King, oh, dude, you dress so good. It's like you just saw me like a little bit ago, same fits, I dress the same, act the same. Now my band, our demo got tweeted about, so now it's like, oh, this band's cool, right. So he's cool. I've seen both sides of the coin. So when people will approach me and say, yo, your homie, blah, 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 seem like a cool guy. Like, what's up with that? I was like, not a cool guy. It's just some people are just cliquey. And, I'm not going to invalidate someone's experience by saying, oh, no, like, that's not happening. Like, like, and just know, like, there are so many people that are clicked up. And, like, me, I've been on both sides of it. Whereas, like, people were just treating me like I did not exist at all. And I don't know. I just think that whole idea, like I said, nepotism, it drives me nuts. Like it drives me so crazy that like people only care about what you're doing if you're like doing something cool or you're somebody or something.
Right.
And then once you get big enough past that point, everyone hates on you for selling out. Like, but then
there's like a very small sweet spot of like hating or accepting, then hating, and then being accepted, and then you're too big for people to give a fuck about.
I'm like, bruh. So like, this advice to people like, yo, just like check out of it early. Like, I mentally checked out of that so early. Now I'm not cocky, but I'm very much aware. Like, yo, I don't care what none of y'all are doing. I'm doing my own thing. I'm chilling. I'm very confident in my abilities now. I don't have time to worry about. Like, it's just like, if I were to say, like, like when you say you don't care about YouTube comments, like that's one thing, but addressing them it's very hard to like. If I were to say I don't care about it and then it bothers me as one thing, but it doesn't bother me. I just to speak on it. It's very hard. It's very hard to. I can't really articulate what I'm trying to say right now.
No, you're good. I think like one thing, one piece of advice that I've taken to heart is like, I think a lot of people can't really deal with like negative comments because they overvalue like the praise of like, dude, you're the GOAT, you're like the fucking G, you know, you're doing all this stuff. So like, I think being able to, you know, like anyone can hate, but like, you know, some people can say something about like, you know, the music video that they're commenting on or a record, and they could have totally valid points because of, you know, I did X, Y, and Z, and they're entitled to that opinion. So I think it's a matter of like just being so like self-aware and kind of be like, I'm just going to stay in my lane and I'm not going to get too high or too low off of either of those things.
Yeah, because it's like you say you don't care about something, but then it ends up bothering you. It's like, so you do care about it.
Right.
You know, like I only care enough about all the nonsense just to address it. You know, like that's it. Like I'm not tossing and turning like, oh, blah blah blah. User number 847 said this. I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
those are the people you should not lose sleep over. Those
people.
Yeah.
Like I like a lot of this stuff doesn't bother me. Like I said, like I've been accustomed to actual physical assault, actual bullying, where it's like, well, you know, the Tyler Creator tweet, like, how is cyberbullying even real? Ha ha ha. You see that? You know, it's like cyberbullying is very real and is a very, you know, people really do go through things because of that. But it's like, I'm just like, dude, I don't care. I just care enough to poke holes in the arguments and post the debate, like why these things are being said solely as a microaggression. Like totally. I care enough just to bring it to people's attention that like I said, like the scrutiny and the criticism that you give us, those red flags, they don't apply to like other, you know, like non-black people or white people. Like they just don't. There's things that only bother you when black people do it. I only care enough to bring it to people's attention. I don't care about the tweet itself because, like I said, like I had to deal with people actually saying it to me. Like I was booking a death metal show in Los Angeles, and it was the weekend of Nipsey Hussle's death. It was the weekend of Nipsey Hussle's funeral. So Nipsey Hussle's funeral was down the street.
Okay. Somebody
walked in to the door I was running and was like, "What are you doing here, nigga? Shouldn't you be at the Nipsey Hussle funeral?" Like just saying that to me like crazy. Like what am I doing here? Like black people like death metal. This is 2019. This isn't even like back in the day. It's 2019.
Right, yeah. This was like yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, someone's saying that to me. And I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm running the show. Like I'm booking the show. Like This is my show. I can kick you out if I want to. I can get you in for free. I can upcharge you. I can give you money. I can do whatever I want because I'm running the door. It's my show.
Right.
Like I have to deal with real life stuff like that, you know, where that's not even a microaggression. That's just straight up, you know, calling me a slur and asking me why I'm, you know, like that's real, you know. Like I don't have time to deal with like this little internet stuff. It's like people value this superficial stuff so much. I'm just like, yo, there's like real stuff going on.
Right.
Some stuff that people probably haven't even like gone through. Like stuff that I've gone through at shows, like back in the day. I've dealt with like I'm like circle pitting to a punk band and the singer is calling me a monkey as I'm circle pitting. Like stuff like that. Like stuff that I've seen. That people can't fathom going to a punk show and actually seeing a group of like bonehead, like neo-Nazis just chilling, and you just, oh, well, I'm not gonna avoid them, and no one does anything about it. Like that couldn't happen now, you know. But back in the day, I would go to punk shows, and there'd be a bunch of like bonehead like skin like bonehead neo-Nazis as they're chilling, and I'm just trying to ignore them, and they're like picking at me and like, you know, going like this and like calling me names and slurs and stuff, and no one's gonna do anything about it because that's just like, oh, let them be. Like that's an era that people can't fathom because that's never happened to a lot of these people.
Right.
Where like they'll go to a show and oh, there's Nazis here. No one's gonna stomp them out. No one's gonna take them out. Let me just be careful. Like that doesn't exist, and that's not commonplace in today's scene at all. So like this is stuff that I've seen going to shows where now I'm like I'm been so conditioned to real life danger and real life stuff that bigger than this finite internet sphere. Like it's bigger than this finite scene in hardcore, in punk. Like it's very much bigger where it's like, yeah, I'm going to a show and there's someone that's here that will kill me because I'm a black person. Like that's people on and punk goes be, oh, punk's an escape from reality. No, bro, like my life will end at this show. Like, you know, it's from moshing. Like it's crazy. So like people don't understand like, yo, it's like real stuff happening. So I just don't have time for like the little itty bitty, just stupid microaggressions that people who will be online and preach and their posts are little cute little infographics. Like, oh, you know, support black businesses when they're just really just as sus as their racist parents are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
sure, yeah.
I have no time for that at all anymore. Like, I'm like mentally in a spot now where it's like I'm doing my own thing. My homies are doing their own thing. We're all chilling. We're all up. We're all making good music. Like people are gonna be online saying stuff and then smile on your face. I'll dap them up. Like I don't even have enough energy to call them opposition. Like they're not even ops to me. They're just like I can't. To call somebody an op is like giving them too much credit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just people are just so negative, dude. I don't have time for it. Like
yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah, it's really sad to see how broken people are to like focus on that and spend their time when it's like there is way bigger issues at play, and you know, life isn't about just like constantly solving everything at all hours at all times. There's like, you know, life is complicated and there's just a multitude of things going on, but just to see people like get in that high of being a part and jumping on the complain train at times is it's sad. But like I'm stoked that you are just in a place where you're just like self-aware enough to be like, I don't give that any time of day. I don't give that any energy. We do need to start wrapping up, Brax, but I have one quick segment. This is total like topic change, but I want to do like a rapid fire smash or pass with 10 guitar brands.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, you know, you've got a plethora of guitars. You don't even know the actual number of how many guitars you actually have. So I got 10 brands up here, and you're gonna tell me smash or pass. I was thinking of doing this as a tier list, but I feel like for more rapid fire, we should just do this as like a yay or nay kind of thing. So are you down with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna start at the top. I'm gonna actually just change the order of these last two. Okay. So first one on the list is the almighty Fender. Smash or pass?
I am smashed. I'm like, I might even cuff. Forget smashing. Yeah, I might have to put a ring on it, honestly. No, yeah, for sure. I'm rocking with Fender. Yeah, like definitely.
Yeah. I love how you said I'm gonna put a ring on that. Okay. And I should have said it at the top of this. This is all like I tried to pull like the top 10 hardcore guitars that you would see at like a fest. So obviously you'd see some Fender, and then we're gonna get into some of these other ones. But the next one up is Gibson. Smash or pass?
I rock with Gibson. They're like kind of heavy to hold, but honestly, like tone is goated. Definitely, I'm rocking with Gibson for sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, next up is Ibanez. Smash or pass?
Smash probably.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Do you have a couple Ibanez's?
I have Ibanez bass. Literally, it's in there right now. I have Ibanez bass.
Okay.
Yeah, Ibanez is cool. I'm not like Oh, this cool.
There was a little bit of hesitancy, you were thinking about it.
Yeah.
Fender was like the dude, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, next up is Jackson.
Jackson, yeah. Smash for days. Yeah, no, Jackson goes crazy.
Yes.
Jackson for sure.
I feel like how you want to put a ring on on Fender is me putting that on Jackson. So,
I'll put a ring on Fender, and my side chick would be Jackson.
that's a great answer. Okay, I feel like the second half of this list is gonna get into a little bit more of like the really like very intricate kind of brands. So, the next up is Charvel.
Man, do you see this? Do you see this?
I see that.
That's my answer.
I got
interpret that how you need to interpret it. That's my answer for sure.
Yeah. So far, it's all been smashes. So I'm curious.
For people who are listening, I showed my Van Halen tattoo.
Oh yeah. Shout out to the audio only listeners. So I appreciate you making that for them because they're like, is he like, what's he whipping out that he's showing Spencer on the podcast? Okay, next up, I'm curious on your take on this is Washburn. Smash or pass?
Okay, shout out Dime, but I'm chilling. Like I don't really have a need for Washburn besides like the Dime line. I'm just like might have to tell Washburn to kick rock.
Oh, okay. So now the misses have made a mark on the board. Okay.
I might honestly, after consideration, tell Ibanez kick rock as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
yeah.
To recap so far, we have Fender, Gibson, ESP, Jackson in the Smash section, and then we have Ibanez. Oh, sorry, Charvel is also in the Smash, and then we have Washburn and Ibanez. Okay, so depending on these next three, it could be 50-50, but we'll see. BC Rich.
Oh, honestly, from Poison to Wasp to freaking Blasphemy to Slayer, like BC Rich is goated. I'm for sure smashing.
That's fair. Anytime I see one pop up on Marketplace, I'm just like, is it the time that I get one of these finally? But I'm like, oh, I just can't commit to like this crazy ass guitar.
My homie Gabe, he lives in Arizona. He's in his band Get a Grip, and he plays for the Dwarves too. He's nuts, but he has the craziest BC Rich collection, and he showed me all of his models, and I just see like throughout the years they just had some of the most genius like engineering for their instruments. Like it's crazy, and like they all sound amazing. Just BC Rich for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's one thing to have a crazy ass looking guitar, but if it looks crazy and it sounds crazy, then that's they're
all practical. Like they're all nuts, practical. But they're practical. They all sound amazing. But BC Rich for sure.
Okay. Last two, Schecter.
Pass.
Yeah.
Like the hardest pass I can ever God, I hate Schecters, bro. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. I'm sorry. If this messes up any future endorsement deals, I do not care. I do not like Schecters, bro. Come on. In 10 years, they're gonna see me like playing a fest with like a Schecter shirt and like I'm all sponsored. But for the meantime, no Schecter. Get it out of here. It sucks.
I had a Schecter Tempest as one of my first guitars ever. And I feel like that line was the only cool model that they had. Because it's almost like a in between. It's kind of like a like an in between like a Super Strat body and like a like an SG. Like it just had like just a little bit. But yeah, like looking back, I'm like, man, Schecter brings nothing to the table anymore. So
I'm sleep.
I'm asleep. Oh, okay. I'm adding a bonus one in here because I just thought of it. Did you ever play any Fernandez guitars?
Never, but they're really good. Like
They are
I don't have
sick.
an opinion of them because I always hear about them, but I've never played one. But I've never played one. But I've heard good things, like for sure.
I regret majorly selling my Fernandez Vertigo, which is like if you took like an Explorer body and like didn't make the edges as pointy and kind of made it more rounded. It was just like this giant block of wood, but it was like such a sick guitar. Sounded great. I majorly regret selling that, and I'm always like on the hunt for some kind of Fernandez because like that's like a missed brand when it comes to guitars for me personally, and I'm sure other people, so shout out to you if you ever played a Fernandez guitar and you're listening to this podcast.
And yeah.
Okay, very last one. I kind of already know the answer to it, but Dean guitars.
Yeah, I have a Dean right now. Again, like when I think of Dean, I still think of the ML, just Dime for sure. Dime, even though he's the GOAT, I mean, obviously, like my freaking shirt, I forgot I was wearing this. Like, I literally forgot I was wearing the Pantera shirt, but
right,
like, I'm not really sold on Washburn, but I'm definitely sold on Dime. I mean, on Dean. Like, Dean is just so goated. Because for me, it's like, Washburn, besides Dime, is just like, like what else do I got? Pretty much, But with Dean, it's like there's so many amazing Dean players. Like Leslie West, has like a signature Dean from Mountain. Uli John Roth from the Scorpions, I believe, also has a signature Dean. Michelangelo Battio from Nitro, the guy that has like the double. He I believe he has a Dean. Yeah, so Dean for sure. I rock with Dean heavy. That's smash it for sure. Yeah. I thought you were gonna ask me about like Paul Reed Smith or something because I was prepared to say PRS is POS. I was about to blame Paul Reed Smith.
Damn.
Like bad. Like,
you know what? When I was looking up, top 10 lists or whatever, just for a point of reference, PRS was popping up, and I think that they're overhyped. Honestly, like, I'm sorry if I'm upsetting any PRS players out there, but like, I want to put that on a shirt. PRS is POS.
Like, if you're not Carlos Santana, you just don't need one. Like, cause like, the only guy I ever see one is Chad Kroger from Nickelback.
Right.
But you're Canadian. I don't want to diss y'all.
Yeah. Tread lightly on your opinions on Nickelback there.
But no, like Paul Reed Smith is just it makes me itch. Like I just don't understand why it's. And I really feel as if John Mayer has a signature Paul Reed Smith that I just saw. Mm-hmm. It's like a Strat with a PRS neck on it. It looks god awful, but I just like, I don't know. That's just not my vibe. They're making millions of dollars. I do not care about making millionaires sad. Mr. Reed Smith, I appreciate your contributions to music, but I'm not rocking with your little
yeah. I don't give a fuck if you listen to Zulu or not, Mr. Smith.
I mean, I rock with like Carvin is fire. There's so many amazing brands.
Right.
But yeah, Charvel, Fender, and Jackson are just on. PV's goated too, but like Charvel, Fender, and Jackson are just.
Those are your top three?
I would say Fender, because like those Fender, like the 80s, like shredder Fenders, nuts. And then yeah, like I mean, Ibanez was fire because Steve Vai had a fire Ibanez with a little monkey grip thing on it.
Sure.
Steve Vai's goated, like the 80s crazy looking Ibanez, like those were really sick. Or did he have does Steve Vai have a PV or a Jackson? I mean, Ibanez or a Jackson? I think he had Ibanez, right? Yeah, it wasn't Ibanez. Yeah.
Okay.
I either play an Ibanez, don't care, but yeah, Fender is goated. Charvel is just a dream come true of an instrument. Like the San Dimas Star or just the San Dimas genius engineering, amazing instrument. Jackson, the Dinky, everything. Cody from the homie Cody, he plays in drink. He just got like a all white
Yeah, I
freaking
saw.
Jackson.
I have many questions as a fellow Jackson player myself. But you know, I'm gonna save that for him. Maybe we could talk a little bit off air. But
I
Braxton,
can call him up real quick. Like, it was good.
you're on the show. What's up with the Jackson deal? Dude, this has been a great chat. Really, really happy that we got to, you know, build and kindle this friendship. Just
Did you
know.
get everything you wanted to ask?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Are you sure? I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like I was just on a tangent, but
No, honestly, like I think you were one of those podcasts where I'm like, I want to come with less notes and just have it be natural than like having all these like lists. So that's I'm trying to try that style a little bit more, especially with people that I just know that can kind of run with it. So, Braxton, you're the man. Really excited for all the stuff coming up for Zulu and all the other bands that you're a part of. All your links will be in the description as always, but if there's anything you want to send us off with before we wrap up, hit it.
Yeah, so Shred Bundy, we're working on an LP, is gonna be out soon. We just put out a split with Face Facts, Goated Band, shout out Sage and all those guys. APSARA, we're meeting up this week. We got a show this week. We're doing a lot of stuff. MADHOUSE is putting out a split with a band called Firestarter out in LA.
Yep.
Who
Great band.
Straight edge band. It's gonna be on Advanced Perspective and Extinction Burst Records.
Dope.
Firestarter is like, I'm not even trying to dick ride these fools because those are homies, but I see a band and I'm like, yo, like I feel like this band like just something special. It's not tangible. It's just something you see like, yo, this band's crazy, you know, like they're doing something. So I'm stoked that we're gonna have a joint release with Firestarter with MADHOUSE coming soon. MADHOUSE we put out a demo 2 years ago, but we didn't really like promote it that well. We promoted it, but like now that there's shows, MADHOUSE they start doing stuff. Wise is talking about doing some stuff, but we're on a hiatus. We broke up, but then now we're talking about stuff. I don't know. It's gray area, but I love Wise to death. Hopefully we do more things. I feel like we are gonna do more things, but that's, you know, up in here. And yeah, shout out Firestarter, those are homies. Shout out Heartthrob. That's team. Shout out, there's a band in Elsinore called Vacancy. Shout out Vacancy. There's a band called No Sleep out in Elsinore. Shout out Spitball in Elsinore. There's a lot of really cool IE bands that get no attention and they should. Damn. Yeah, I'm gonna need a list of all the freaking people. But yeah, shout out all the homies who are actually on some real stuff, not on some clout chasing nonsense. Y'all niggas are weirdos. Shout out the real homies.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Spicy Spence gang for sure. The spiciest Spence. I've seen a lot of Spences in my day. Don't get me wrong, but you're probably the spiciest Spence out of the spicy Spences.
Oh, you're gonna make me blush.
Shout out all the real homies who actually are on some real stuff. So yeah. Shout out Scope Exposure. Shout out Canada. We're gonna be in Canada soon.
Yes, Wild Rose, baby. I'm really excited.
In August, that's gonna be crazy. I expect to see all the Canadian homies there. Not the whole. I mean, this is a pretty big spot, but like people
yeah,
that
Canada
I expect to see a lot
spot.
of the homies there. Like every Canadian to slide to Wild Rose or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Never been to Canada, so that's gonna be sick.
I will definitely link up, and I'm gonna show you the spots and the guitar places and all that good stuff. Brax, you're a real one. I appreciate you, and thanks for coming back on the podcast. We'll definitely do it again real soon.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Like, honestly, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.